Surfworld's the largest surfing and beach culture museum. We tell the story of Australian surfing. We're also the home of the Australian Surfing Hall of Fame, and all the aspects of Australian surfing and its rich and fabulous history are represented here in the museum. For surfers, it's a chance to walk down memory lane. For people that are getting involved with surfing, it's a great way of delving into the culture and the history of surfing. And for people travelling from areas that may not have exposure to surfing, it's a great way for them to plug into what surfing is all about. So walking along the boardwalk under the lip of this wave, you can check out the history of surfing from the earliest examples of timber surfboards right through to the most futuristic designs and experimental boards. So surfing evolved from solid timber surfboards about 100 years ago and transitioned from what we can see here, which is a solid timber board which spent half of its life as a board and also has done time as a carpentry bench as well. It's got drill holes and a number of other things that show that it's had at least two lives, to hollow plywood surfboards that were used from the late 20s through the 50s and through to the 50s. And then in 1956, balsa and fiberglass boards were introduced. They were short, they were light, and the performance level really took off. So from that point, surfing has really evolved and become a popular sport in Australia. Simon basically arrived at Bells in 1981 with a board that had 3 fins. Up until that point, boards had only had 1 fin or 2 fin boards popularised by Mark Richards, and pretty much revolutionised surfing at that point. In huge waves, he demonstrated the performance potential of the boards, and since then every World Championship has been won on a 3-fin surfboard. Most of the pros still ride 3-fin surfboards, and in terms of production, most of the boards produced since that time have carried that design as well. The Hall of Fame sits at the heart of the museum here in Torquay and tells the story of Australian surfing legends. Come on in, I'll show you around. This area records significant Australian surfers, a great example of each of their boards and a biography of their major achievements. And probably beyond that, it's a great record of the changes in surfing designs, as well as a whole bunch of boards that I'd like to take down off the walls and go surfing. In 1919, a young surfer called Lewis White travelled to Hawaii. He bought 4 surfboards there from Duke Kahanamoku and travelled back to Australia and surfed the boards at Lorne and Anglesea. So we're lucky to have these surfboards here, which represent the origins of surfing in this part of the world. There are 2 different elements within the museum, permanent displays and then temporary exhibitions. We're standing in temporary exhibition space here at the moment, which is an exhibition called Bells Gold, which celebrates the 50-year history of the contest at Bells Beach. But we have a constantly evolving array of new exhibitions that will be coming through the museum, as well as those fantastic and iconic things that are permanently on display. This is a fantastic trophy from Mick Dooley's win at Bells in 1964, and you can see the difference between what you win for the contest then and how it is now. But this is a much loved item. You can see the plating's worn off this. It's obviously something that Mick appreciates and has handled with care over a long, long time. This is a fantastic story. Gail Cooper won the Bells event 10 times in 11 years. This is her trophy from the first year they awarded Bells in 1967. A lot of people make a big deal about Kelly Slater and Mark Richards winning the event 4 times, and Gail's record's amazing, a 10-time winner of Bells. So that's a great indication of the importance of the museum, is telling stories that people perhaps aren't familiar with and exploring the history and the depth of Australian surfing. Surfing's such a huge part of Australian life that it's a great opportunity for us to protect and preserve and present the story of Australian surfing to people from around the world and around Australia. And it's just so important that we're able to look after those elements and present them in the best possible way that we can.